Okay, good morning, folks. Let's get this to flow, the Maimer. And I'm reading from the Teichen HaInyanim. Yiduch Hashem kol ma'asecha v'chasidech yivachucha. So all your works will thank you, and your Hasidim will bless you. So establish Yiducha, thank you, because they're talking about a level that is beyond grasp. Haydin ishtalshalus, that's the madrege. And that madrege, beyond the ishtalshalus, and in the end, there's three levels. Filling the lack, ashirus, and then beyond ashirus, because Gemilas Chasadim is even for ashirim. So it's three dargas in Yeducha, but ultimately, what we are focusing now on is contrasting the ashirus of Shlomo Melech and Losid Lovai, which in summary, he at his time was also the Amshacha of Atik, which is why the Nitzutzi Kedusha were elevated without struggle, and moreover, they came in and of themselves. But Losid Lovai is Pnimius Atik, and we're in the middle of that distinction now. We're now learning the Maimer, Atik and Pnimius Atik. But the word is Yivarchucha means that Chasidecha, and explain why Chasidecha, we're in the middle of that right now as well. So they are mamshech, this Giloi Oir, from a place, as we just said, that's only Hidah, which means, there's Holarichis in the Maimer, which means that this embodies the Maila of both Tefillah, which is a new Ratzin, and the Maila of Bracha, which is not a new Ratzin, but B'derech Tzivui. There's no impediment. Tefillah is not necessarily answered because it's a new Amshacha, and the Bezdin Shamayla may not be convinced. But Bracha unlocks that which is already determined, but this is the Maila of both already, you follow what I'm saying, of Tefillah and Torah. New Ratzin Chodosh, and B'derech Tzivui, it will happen. And then that's similar to Torah. And in Torah Gufa, he went into different dargas of Torah, the Rashbi versus Pinchas ben Yoyer, which you will revisit at the end of the. We're going to come to it now also again. That's the mile of Torah over Tefillah. So this Hamshacha is ultimately it's Chasidech Yivachucha because a Chesed. Chesed meaning it's higher than A, filling the lack. That's tzedakah. This is chesed, beyond the lack. In detail, he explained the 5 things that Malchus lacks as a result of Malchus descending into Biyah to create the Tzimtzum, creates the lack. So here, filling the lack is the Amshacha, the Gilui, not only that Malchus contained, but is higher than Malchus. And again, tzedakah fills the lack. The 5 things that lack, that's the Gilui, which is Shaykh to Malchus. But he was speaking Chesed, and that's Pnimius HaKesed, and that's Ashiras. And as we just explained now, drawing distinction between Shloima and Losid Lovai, the Shleimus of Ashiras still Losid Lovai is by Shloima. Again, they came, then it's a Kedusha of their own accord. But Derech Manucha, even higher than the Birur Nitzutzis Kedusha of Moishe Rabbeinu, of the Mishkan, which was not an actual war, but you still had to go out there in the desert. The Oren had to travel in the desert, and the enemies scattered and remained enemies, but they scattered. Whereas in contrast to Shlomo Melech, they came to him to be elevated, and yet Losid Lovai is greater still. So there's a chesed higher than Ashiris, and that's Pnimius Atik. And if you recall, that's the darga of Ein Sof, invested. There's 3 heads in Keser, Ein Sof in Radlo, that's the Ikin in Atik, and the other 2 levels are Chachmas Timah, Atika Kadisha, and Chachmas Timah. So in general, Pnimius Atik means Atzmus. And that's revealed Lasad Lovai. Hide in Yemei Shloima, and therefore we're in the middle of learning now. Dam Shachas all the way down, everywhere. Dafke. In Malchus, the Malchus, which is the Keich HaPel Benifal, the actual creative force invested in creation, to our physical world. Okay, so we're now up to, in the Maimon now, V'yesh Loimar. I don't think we did it.
We finished the ice, but it's okay, no problem. We can chazer over.
Okay, so Ish Yud Beis. It's important to revisit what he says now at the end, however, of Ish Yud Aleph. We're going to do it again because it's critical. So the reason why this is Lasid Lovai, we're not just Atik Bechlal. But Pnimius Atik, again, that's the Ein Sof, which is invested where in Radlo Reishad Lo Yisyado. So Dafke then will be Yi Gilo, because Bechol Mokoim, in every place. Who ki Pnimius Atik and Bechlolas Atmos Ein Sof. Pnimius Atik, really, in essence, it conveys the essence. And Hashem's essence is everywhere. Child, simple Jew, on the contrary, without any discussion or analysis, and there is none, there's no filtering, it's pure God. So number one, Lagabe Atzmos, there's nothing outside of him. When you're talking about revelation, even the highest revelation, if you're calling it a revelation, you're saying there is something else. But Atzmos, there is nothing. And therefore, when Eibush himself is revealed, there is nothing outside of him. When Atzmos is revealed, it will be felt in every matter, everything. Its whole being is nothing other than Elikus. Therefore, in light of this, the Rebbe suggests and says, the virtue that will be when Pnimius Atik is revealed, Lagabi over, the greatness over, the advantage, Matzav Ha'olam Shebimei Shleimaho, that it was during the time of Shleima is, Gam B'negei Lo'isam Hadvarim, even those things. It's not only that it's going to be a further reach, but even that which Shleima Melech transformed, the transformation there will be radically different, more elevated. Gam B'negei Lo'isam Hadvarim Shegam B'mei Shleimaho B'am Gilikos, even that which he did, where he did reveal godliness. Again, they came from near and far, and they were drawn to the divine. Nonetheless, Lasad Love, that's going to be radically beyond. Because the time of Shlomo Melech, the revelation was Atik, since it wasn't the essence, but the external level of Atik, which is the highest level of Oir Taka. The three dargas, Ato, Hu, and Havaya, and by him was Hu and Havaya. Hu is Etzem, we explained, and Havaya is Giloy Oir, but still the Gabi Atzmut it's Chitzonius, revelation. Again, revelation is otherness. Hu Kamedova Noisef Aladvarim, therefore, what he revealed was something additional to creation. Yes, there's a God, but there's also me on some level, whatever level that is. Because not the etzer. The otherness property is the nature of their relationship with God. I am other and I acknowledge you. So the revelation that he revealed is something additional to that to whom he revealed God to. Whereas will be b'chol davar. Who? She's Gala Oz HaMetzias Sheloi Gufa. His very being is only godliness. That doesn't mean his very being is God. It's a creation. Fine distinction between this and Avodah Zarah. Trying to worship creation. It's the opposite. Not that creation is everything. It's creation is absolutely nothing. It's all a consequence of his will. Its metzius and all of its properties, down to the minutiae, is the consequence of Atzmus. I've told you this, but it's important to draw the distinction because people and people are listening to this Maimon and learning it too on different levels. So this has to be made clear. Lahavdil Elf Havdalah, Buddhism worships everything. Everything is God. And many Jews are attracted to it because it calls to the Achdus in such a deep way. Everything. It's not only is it well, that's kind of similar, but it's not a religion. It's Avodah Zorah and could be anything further. Everything is not God. It's a creation. Bereshis, Bara, Likim, Yesh Ma'ayin. So what did he just say now? That it's all absolutely nothing. It's Mitzvah. So how is it? Why is it here? Because of the Eibishter. The Eibishter is the reality. Everything else is the consequence. So it's the opposite. Mamash. Avodah Zorah and Achdas Hashem. And that's why in Buddhism, there's nothing to do, nothing to fix. It's all God. There's no shlichus. There's no avodah. You surrender. As they said with the knights. So I'm kind of forcing them to embrace their own. What are you saying? So yeah, there are parts of God that know He's God, the parts of God that doesn't know He's God. Like you and me, or people who don't know, you're enlightened, but those who are not enlightened, Hitler, God. So it's passive, it's surrender, it's the tachlis, the hepech of the emes of Yiddishkeit, which is there's a great job to be done. To be megala likus in Welt, that Welt should know it's not a Metzias. And for there's no job to be done. It's just surrender. And either you do or you don't. They said, why are you trying so hard? I'm asking them. All is God. So what do you whatever level, they had to, you're right. Well, this is God trying to know that they got tongue twisted. And I was told finally, we love you, but we'll invite you back next time when we want you to come back. Thank God we saved a few kids. But they're all Jewish because they just talk to the neshama, oneness. That talks to a Jew, oneness, because the neshama. Yud Beis. Sorry? No. Let's now begin on Yud Beis. What about if somebody undertook, when this Maimon is over, for the benefit of all of us, to make a flow chart? No, not explanations, just connecting the flow of the Maimon in the Yeah, it would first if you did that, you'll know the Maimon, and that's a great gift, and you'll gift everybody else as well, and you'll be able to follow it all.
Aaron Spiro used to do it.
What?
Aaron Spiro did it.
Aaron Spiro, what?
You can't hear it.
Has done it. I know. I'm looking at it as I'm speaking, actually.
Harry does it.
He doesn't have enough to do. He's a lot of spare time, so we want to fill it in.
I'll think about it.
Okay? That'd be a Meredika thing. Flowchart. And then connecting, there's dargas that connect, and there's a lot of tangential detail in it that analyzes that Indian, if a closely it continues, to think it through how to present it. It'll be a labor. It could take a few weeks, but it's worth it for all of us. Okay, Yud Beis, v'zeh v'chasidecha. Now comes v'chasidecha. So the chasidecha, again, chesed, higher than Ashiras even. Ashiras is Atik. Chasidecha, chesed, even Tashirim, even the rich need Gemilas or want. They don't need. But they benefit from, there's no need. The Asher has no need, but he benefits from Gemilas Chasodim. It takes his business to a whole new level. It's already successful and he's a wealthy fellow. But to take it from millionaire to billionaire and from billionaire to trillionaire, Gemilas Chesed. but Chasidech, but your Chasidim. So there's the Avodah down here of us in the way of Chesed. What's that? Chasidecha Yivachucha, which is going beyond that. This is the Amshacha, which is pure Chesed. Haydn Ashirus. So what's that? So he's going to be Masbid. Shamshacha b'malchos yivarchu ka, like, or that, as opposed to this, is malchus. So there be mamshech the inyan in malchus all the way down. Shimshechas al chasidecha. So this which is drawn down through your chassidim, b'oifen shel chesed, in the way of chesed, haflagas hatoiv. Because what are they drawing down? The inyan shel chesed. Haflaga means extreme toiv. The noisiv lazeh mamshich b'malchus ha'irish nistalka b'menu. In addition to the fact that they are mamshich in malchus, that which departed, that's the chsorin. Sheidei, in a word, that's the tzimtzum that's required in order for God to create. Sheidei and this malach sorin shalom. Under that, they feel that chsorin, which means we feel the creative force. Again, feeling the chsorin means that we're revealed in creation, that there's a creator. That's level one, but God's beyond creator. Hey, mamshichim ba'inyan our shira shalamayim melech sorin atik. So chasidecha also mamshich in the world, that the world should know this richness that the Eibishter is beyond creator. This is like erasevev, bligvul atik. And we say them is and even more this Allah said lavoish mamshichim ba'agilu shalamayim mechnas shira shiras we draw and reveal in the chasidim. Chasidecha, I can explain what that Avodah is. Drawn to the world, even hide in Ashiras, Pneumius Atik, Atzmus. Malik Kalalmim, Tsevav Kalalmim, Atzmus. Creator, beyond creator, Eibishter. Mavai, B'mayim, the Rebbe Rashab explains, so why is this Hamshacha? Is Nimshach Dafka through the Avodah of a Yid in the Oifen, in the way of Chasidecha, Mitzat Shnei Inyonim, says the Rebbe Rashab, two things. Number one, Mitzat HaBitl Shalahem. Chassid means bitl. Where do we see that Chassid means bitl? K'maymer HaZoyer, like the Zoyer says, Huvel El Sifhei, we brought this earlier, Sifhei, the two titles in there. Izeh Chassid HaMischassidim Koiner. Who is a Chassid? Who deals kindly with his, Chesed, with his master, with his owner. What does that mean? Shavedose lebishvil atzmoi. His avodah is not for himself, that he should be connected to the Eibishter. It's for God's purpose. So that's complete bittul, no self, no agenda at all. That God's purpose and will be done, like he explains in Tanya. This is number one. He continues elaborating on point number one of Chasidecha, who be bittul, since their avodah, and through their avodah is in a way of bittul, it's not about them per se. Therefore, what level of alikus and what are they mamshich through their avodah? So they draw on the essence which is beyond God's revelation. Revelation already is the beginning of mitzius, of being, of otherness. And their avodah is not about their mitzius, so therefore the mamshech alikus hide the mitzius. And what's that? Atik, we said, moreover, so speaking now, beprotius, primius atik. They're revisiting what he quoted from the Zohar before. And the two Beyurim, this is all still the first hasbara in why Chasidecha Yivachucha, why Chasidecha Mamshich Atzmos, because of the bittul, and bittul is the keli for Atzmos. the mamshech, it's not about their metzius, so the mamshech, a level of alikus, that's beyond metzius. That's beyond being other being. Now in brackets, v'zeh, and this is the meaning of the zeh, is chosish m'chasadim koinoi. So the piddush the first piddush is im koinoi, with who is the chassid who does kindness with or to his master, means the avodas for the Eibush, not for himself. But there's another taich, or piddush b'tikon Isaiah. We learned this earlier. Im kan delay. Kan is the nest. Koinoi is zah. Koinoi is lamaila, creator, master. Kan is the nest. So he does kindness to the nest. So what's the connection? Nest is creation. He's doing kindness to creation, or is it kindness for God? Malchus, which is already creator and biyah, or higher than creation? Answer: how are both meanings conveyed in the same words? Koinoi and kandile. The mehabeyurim, amongst the explanations, there are others. Bakesha, in the connection between these two inyonim is that when his avodah is not about himself, but the avodah is about what God wants. Not about himself, but for the God's need. Therefore, not about him, he can be mamshech. The union of chesed, which is higher than the atzmos, where all the way down kandale. Because that's what the tzeder gavaya is. That's what the Eibishter wants. Sham shocha b'malchus kandale tiyeh. So, when the avodah is purely about the Eibishter, then what does he affect? He affects that he draws into creation, which is kandale, the nest. Tiyeh should be. Not only merely chsaron that he reveals as a creator, and even higher than the creator, Ashiris, he skips that level. And then Ulamaylim Ashiris. He reveals the infinite God, and then beyond even the infinite God, the essential God, beyond the infinite. That's the true chesed. Why? Because it's about the Nis'ava Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's his motive. God's desire. What does God desire? A dira in kandile, a dira in malchus, a dira in neshamas yisol, a dira b'tachtoinim. Therefore, he's mamshechet. So that's one beer. Why? Is el chosid? Why? I'm sorry. Why? Chasidecha yivachucha. That's the avodah of chasidecha. That's mamshech, the darga of Yeducha, where in Koi, in Malchus and creation. Now, second beer. This is all from the Rebbe Rashab. This gets very personal now. Another inyan in the connection between the Dafke Pnimisatik, which is the Etzem. Ein Sof, that is the Slabish in the Adlo, again. Ato, that's a dog of Ato. And the next two Roshima, Hu and Havaya, he was speaking Ato, and it's Nimshech Dafke by the Chosid, because what's in Yinachsidis? The Yinachsidis Osha Koiches Hativim Nasim Koiches Elikim. That is, natural faculties become godly faculties. Now, what does that mean? So he tells us, see Barucha Shalom of the Rebbe Rashab. With Bekitzer there, he says, it's actually written very Bekitzer. Shalom is a kitzer. He spoke much longer. It just really, the Tziddik Rebbe said the Bamis was supposed to be just Kitzurim, later to be elaborated upon, but never was. By him, or the Rebbe Rashab, but was left like this. People don't have time for it anymore. There's so much to learn, but we were boching be able to say that in Torah Shalom. Upon him, so there he says like this. I mean, elsewhere in this inyan that the koichas, the midas, become godly. So it's not the same thing as saying, I'm just going to tell you. The Tilchsidis, you have Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. You got good midas and bad midas. So Tilchsidis, you got to contain the bad midas, selfish midas, and Yetzer Hara is fine. So this came along to make even the good midas godly, which means to take them beyond the natural state, even the good, the natural disposition, which is good, the good qualities, a nice fellow. You're born that way. It's no avoided there. To take your niceness and be nice to level where beyond your niceness. That's pashut. Like he brings the different definitions of chassidus in Yonash Teres Chassidus. This was one Lashanis Koiches Ativim. This is not Lashanis Koiches Ativim. This is Shativim Nasim Koiches Lakim. And it seems that the beard is, and he says Taka there, that this is a high madrege. He speaks 3 dargas in this. That a person, his faculties, all they are, is a reflection of the divine faculties. How do we understand chesed l'mayla and chacham l'mayla? From our own faculties. So for him, that's what his faculty is. It's only there for him to understand the Eibishter. I tick like this because to understand him. So as he views his own koiches, nasim koiches elikim, they are b'tzelem elikim, right? In the image of God, they are merely a reflection, and they're only that way because that's the way the Eibishter chooses to reveal himself. That's how he sees his own koiches. So that's very high madrege. Obviously, he doesn't use his entire life is pure kedusha and likus, but his own drives, his own way, the mechanism of his own being, his seichel and midas and rotzen and etc. and kaychamaisa and 613 parts of the body. Everything he looks at is just it's a mirror of the divine. It's there for him to appreciate, to know God. That's what God wants. So that's the second inyan. Why Damshacha Pnimis Atik is Dafka through Chasidecha, because this is the definition of Chasid. Now continuing is the mid-sentence. What's going to be then when Pnimis Atik, when Atmos is revealed the Mata, who was Amim? I will transform the nations. Meaning they themselves become transformed. In square brackets, contrasting it to Shleim HaMelech. Shleim generated a great light, and he attracted them. It's an Entzutis Sheba'amim Kanal. So the divine sparks within them were drawn to him. But they still remained who they were at the end of the Varaya. It didn't last. The nations of the world, they themselves become Kedusha. It means that every aspect of creation says Eibishter, and it says, not just it's just a creator, it says that these properties are a reflection of the divine properties. That's Lasid Lava. So who does that? The Chosid, as defined here. And that's Al Derech, that's similar to what we're describing now. That by the Yid, his own koiches tivim, ne'afachim v'nasim koiches elikim, he views them and relates to them and expresses them. All is simply an expression and a mirror of the divine. That's what's going to be Lasad Lavai. So that's his avodah. That's why he's mamashich pnimius atik atzmos. Clear. So the two explanations: bittul, the avodah is mitzad l'mayla, and the second. He describes it as a second explanation that Izeh Chosid, that the koiches tivim, nasim, koiches elikim, that's Lasid Lava. That's only possible from Pnimius Atik, where everything is godliness. It's at Atzmos. Now, the Rebbe asks a question.
Is it al derech bittul ayesh and bittul b'metzias?
Elaborate.
Are these two?
In general, yes. In Lasid Lava, bittul metzias. Yeah. In general, yeah. In that, there's dargas, but yes. Be'emes, it's more than bittul mitzias, because there the focus is the nothingness. Here is the mitzias is godly. It's the next step. Alain, you're nothing. You're nothing. Ein ve'efes. You're everything because you express godliness. It's even higher than bittul mitzias. But the step to get there is first the bittul of the yeshes kishalatzbe completely. Now you're ready to express. So what's bistu? So why are you here? Because this the Eibishter wants, and every detail of me expresses him. That comes after the bittul mitzvah. That's the tachlis. I told you this very insightful story. The real Zimmer. Remember the story? Yechidus, when I got into this person was first translator of Tanya, and how he's Niskara to Lubavitch. He worked in the UN. He was a genius and knew I don't know how many languages fluently, and it's a translator just for Panosa. That's what. And he was Niskara of Chassidus. He was a big kandoi. He was involved first in Turakarta, deeply. Satmar, Shitta. Akaponi became a gewaldige chassid. So he said into the Rebbe once in Yechidus, he says, I don't know how I expressed it, but he said, it seems that the Rebbe changed Chabad. It's not the Chabad chassid of Deir HaShishi is not the Chabad chassid that is Deir HaShvi. Deir HaShishi, the quintessential, the model Chabad chassid, the Oived, the maskil, that's already something. I mean, Oived, the Daven Shabbos, Be'arucha, it was Oisveld, as Oisveld. And the new chassid is engaged and savvy, and there's a whole new direction taking Lubavitch. Transcend, engage. The Rebbe told him that after 6 generations of Welt is Nishke Metzias, now we're ready to elevate. Now we're ready that Welt should be, its whole Metzias is a likus. This is the tachlis. Okay, that's an akudah, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying it briefly. Which means also that the Rebbe changed, don't daven b'avei Shabbos. The previous generation did it. You're right on their coattails. That's nonsense. You have to do it. The shlich has to do it. But now even deeper, now reveal in the world that its whole mitzias is a likus, suffused with bittul b'mitzias. The bittul of it per se, kishal atzma. Okay, this is a very nuanced question coming now. An answer. Started. Okay, we'll start the next 2 lines. You need to daven. So the Rebbe Rashab gave these 2 reasons why the darge of the true chesed, hide in ashiris, hide in mili achsoren, fulfilling the lack again. Maleh seiv of atzmos is dafka through chasidecha, bittul, and their own avodah. Now comes the question. In order to be mamshech this, it's critical to that is the Yid himself and his bittul. So he's actually saying 2 things here. The amshacha pnimis atik is bittul. The next thing, that the world will be transformed. Because by him in his avodah, his whole identity is godliness. So it's your bittul, number 1. That's like the bittul b'mitzias, first level. Then even more than that, transformation. That his faculties are all godliness, that Welt is nothing other than the expression of the divine. That's what causes this personal avodah, the amshocha of Atzmas Lamata, and the transformation of all of existence to reflect godliness. But tzarich lahavin, the question is, the l'chayra, okay, we'll stop here. I don't want to rush this. An incredible question and an incredible answer. Okay, we have to get back into telling our story, but no one's clamoring for it, so I kind of let it slip. A day is fine without it? No? Okay, a wonderful day, Psudas Tovus.